ladies and gents of YouTube. I've got another story to read tonight. I hope you're ready for this one. SCP-096, Object Class Euclid. SCP-096 is to be contained in its cell, a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter, airtight, steel cube at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. There are to be absolutely no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside SCP-096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure SCP-096's presence inside the cell. Any and all photos, videos, or recordings of SCP-096's likeness are strictly forbidden, without approval. From Dr. Redacted and 05-Redacted. Description: SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. The subject shows very little muscle mass, with preliminary analysis of body mass suggesting mild malnutrition. Its arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation, with no sign of body hair. SCP-096's jaw can open 4 times the norm of an average human. Other facial features remain similar to an average human with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It is not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no signs of any higher brain functions and is not considered to be sapient. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors inside its cell indicating it spends most of the day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly via video recording or even a photograph, it will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will from this point on be referred to as SCP-096-1. Documented speeds have varied from 35 kilometers to redacted kilometers per hour, and seems to depend on the distance from SCP-096-1. At this point, no known material or method can impede SCP-096 progress. The actual position of SCP-096-1 does not seem to affect SCP-096 response. It seems to have an innate sense of SCP-096-1's location. Note that this reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. See document SCP-096-1. Okay, we will check that later. Upon arriving at SCP-096-1's location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill and data expunged SCP-096-1. 100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again, and will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat. Data redacted. Due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including breach of Foundation secrecy and large civilian loss of life, retrieval of the subject should be considered alpha priority. Dr. Redacted has petitioned for immediate termination of SCP-096. See Interview 096-1. The termination order has been approved and is to be carried out by Dr. Redacted on date redacted See Incident 0961A. Okay, the first document that we have here is an audio log from interview 0961. Interviewer is Dr. Redacted. The interviewed is Captain, a retired Captain Redacted, former commander of Retrieval Team Zulu 9 Alpha. Retrieval Incident 0961A. The time is redacted. Research area redacted. The captain states, "It always sucks ass to get initial retrieval duty. You've no idea what the thing is capable of besides what jacked up information the field techies can scrape up. And you're lucky if they even tell you the whole story. They told us to bag and tag. Didn't tell us jack shit about not looking at the damn thing. Could you describe the mission, please?" "Yeah, sorry. We had 2 choppers, one with my team and one with backup. Zulu 9 Bravo and Dr. Redacted. We spotted the target about 2 clicks north of our patrol path. I'm guessing he wasn't facing our direction, else he would have taken us out then and there. The report says SCP-096 didn't react to the cold. It was negative, redacted degrees Celsius." The captain responds, "Well, actually, it was negative, redacted. And yes, it was butt naked and didn't so much shiver. Anyway, we landed and approached the target, and Corporal Redacted got ready to bag it. That's when Dr. Redacted called. I turned to answer it, and that's what saved me. The target must have turned, and my whole squad saw it. That's when SCP-096 entered in an agitated, emotional state." Yeah. The interviewed person now pauses for a second before continuing. "Sorry, I got the willies for a second." "That's alright." The captain says, "Yeah. Well, I never saw its face. My squad did, and they paid for it up the ass. Could you describe it in a little more detail, please?" The captain responds, Yeah, look. It started screaming at us, and crying. Not an animal type roaring, though. It sounded exactly like a person. Really fucking creepy." He pauses again. "We started firing when it picked up Corporal Redacted and ripped off his leg. God, he was screaming for our help. Fucking A. Anyway, we were blowing chunks out of the target, round after round. It didn't do jack shit. I almost lost it when it started. Data expunged him." Doctor says, "That's when you ordered the use of AT-4 HEDT launcher." The captain responds, "Yes, an anti-tank gun. We started carrying it ever since SCP Redacted got loose. I've seen those tear through tanks like tissue paper. Did the same thing to the target. There was significant damage to SCP-096. The captain responds, "It didn't even fucking flinch. It kept tearing apart my squad, but with half its torso gone." He drew a large half circle across his torso. But it was taking damage." The captain responds, "If it was, it wasn't showing it. It must have lost all its organs, all of its blood, but it didn't acknowledge any of it. Its bone structure wasn't hurt at all, though. It kept tearing my squad apart. So no actual structural damage." "How many rounds did you say were fired at SCP-096? "At the least. Must have been 1,000. Our door gunner kept his GAU-19 on it for at least 20 seconds. 20 fucking seconds. That's 600.5 caliber rounds pumped into the thing. Might as well have been spitting at it." This is when Zulu 9 Bravo arrived. The captain responds, "Yeah, and my squad was gone. Zulu 9 Bravo managed to get the bag over its head and it just sat down. We got it into the chopper and got it here. I don't know how I never saw its face. Maybe God or Buddha footsteps leave the room. The captain is confirmed to have left the room. Doctor responds, "Let this be on record that I'm formally requesting SCP-096 be terminated as soon as possible." There are some additional documents that I have here. The first is document 0961. Alright. The document is headed by Dr. Dan. The purpose is to test SCP-096's abilities while obtaining complete physical description of SCP-096. D-9031 is a 32-year-old convicted felon and former tattoo artist. D-9031 is placed inside the bathysphere 303A, which is then lowered in the Tonga Trench off the coast of New Zealand. The position is approximately redacted kilometers from SCP-096's temporary containment cell at site redacted. The following was recorded via video surveillance inside bathysphere 303A between it and Dr. Dan's control site on New Zealand mainland. When the bathysphere 303A reaches the final depth of 10,800 meters, the audio log begins. D-9031 says, "It stopped. What now?" Dr. Dan asks, "Do you feel fine? No sickness? Anything?" D-9031 responds, "My ears hurt." Dr. Dan says, "That should be expected. Now on your left should be a steel container. Open it and there will be a manila folder holding several photographs. Open it and describe the first photograph, please." D-9031 complies. The camera is located so that the photograph cannot be seen. D-9031 says, "Nothing. It's an empty cell." Dr. Dan says, "Thank you. Please set this photograph face down in the receptacle to your right and look at the next photograph." D-9031, "It's the same cell, but there's a foot in it, I think. Describe it, please." It's pale and bony, sort of creepy actually. Place the photograph in the receptacle, face down, and look at the next one. D-9031 says, "Okay." He pauses and then, "Oh shit." Dr. Dan says, "Describe the photograph." D-9031 says, I don't know. It's some creepy ass person. Hell, man. He's pale, has white eyes, and something fucked up is happening with his mouth. What the hell is this thing? At this point, approximately 3200 hours standard time, Dr. Dan and Experiment Control is notified that SCP-096 has breached containment. The fastest path to SCP-096-1 has been cleared to civilians and other image capturing devices. SCP-096 is now being tracked via satellites using a tracking collar. On your right, there should be another steel container. Open it. SCP-0961, it's a pad of paper and pencil. Dr. Dan says, "Yes, please draw a sketch of the photograph you saw." Now D-9031 has been renamed SCP-0961, and 0961 mumbles an expletive and spends the next 20 minutes drawing a sketch of the photograph. At the time of completion, SCP-096 is confirmed to be redacted kilometers away from SCP-0961. 0961 says, "I'm done." Dr. Dan says, "Good. Place the drawing in the receptacle on your left and close the door." SCP-0961 complies, and the sketch leaves the bathysphere 303A in a watertight buoyancy container. The other photographs are then incinerated in the onboard incinerator. SCP-0961 says, "What now?" Dr. Dan says, "Please stand by." 40 minutes passed, and SCP-096 is now confirmed to be at SCP-0961's position and is diving Transponder signal ends at 9,333 meters. As pressure goes beyond the device's operational limits, the camera shows the bathysphere shaking slightly. From SCP-0961's reaction, it is assumed SCP-096 is on the hull and is visible through the viewport. Oh fuck. Shit, what the fuck is that? Video and audio feed is cut as the hull of bathysphere 303A is breached. SCP-096 is recovered by Surface Recovery Team Foxtrot. 303A without incident. Sketch of SCP-096 is also recovered, and a quick test confirms no hostile reaction from SCP-096. Sketch is sent to Experimental Control on New Zealand, while SCP-096 is moved to permanent containment. Ladies and gents, that brings us to the end of this tale about SCP-096, so let's hope you don't meet the shy guy. Thank you all for listening, as always.